Welcome to the Data Organization Made Simple webinar with DoorLoop, hosted by me, yours truly, Jose Reynoso. Today we're going to be talking about how to organize your life a little bit better. And if you're cluttered right now, no worries. We're going to help you with that today. Let's do it. So, a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Miami. I've lived here all my life, have not moved. I've stayed just in one spot. I absolutely love it here. Love sports, specifically baseball. I played baseball for about 15 years of my life. So, it was a big part of my life. Played it, loved it. And I'm a big sports fan in general. I love basketball, even though I'm not good at it. I like playing football, even though I'm not the best at it, but we like all sports. Study computer science. I'm currently in school. I'm a junior in college studying computer science, and I love tech. Everything tech, anything computers, networking, Wi-Fi, anything technology, I absolutely love. So just fill me with all tech questions or any ideas. I love talking about technology. So the agenda for today: get to know a little bit about me. We already did that just a little bit. Getting organized. That is the main kind of point for today's webinar, is learning how to get a little bit more organized. Some of the challenges that you're going to face while trying to accomplish this, and some advice. Just a little bit of advice from me, just because I've helped my mom, I've helped family, and I also work in data here at DoorLoop. So I'm dealing with a lot of people's information, and I'm also dealing with learning how to organize that. So today we're here to help you out a little bit. So get to know me. A little bit about my background. Love tech ever since I was a young age. I built my first computer, I believe, when I was 8 or 9 years old. And I built all my friends' computers. Everyone comes to me with tech questions, or anyone in the house always comes to me like, hey, I need help with this, or hey, my computer's broken. Can you look at it? I'm your guy. I'm always the person to ask for any tech questions. And if I don't know anything, I just Google it. Google is your number one resource if you don't know anything. Running my own business taught me how to use Excel, especially in data migration here. I used to have my own business where I had to use Excel a lot to organize my data just in separate sheets, use a lot of formulas to add different values and split text between columns with first name, last name, just a lot of Excel work, a long hours of Excel work. And just using a lot of Excel at a very young age. Current profession: I'm currently in school studying computer science, like I mentioned earlier, and I am working here at DoorLoop doing data entry. I absolutely love my job. Working here is amazing, just because you get to do cool stuff like this, do something different, and do webinars and teach people how to, be a little bit more organized. Creating goals of making data migration easier. So that is definitely one of my big goals here. I do come from a computer science background, so I do want to automate a lot of things, and I do want to make it overall better and easier for both my job and maybe for future clients if I get the chance to do that. You never know. Never know. So what I love to do, I love to help people stay organized. Like I mentioned earlier, with my family, my mom would write everything on notebook and keep everything in separate notebooks, and I'm just like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, come on, you need to get a little bit more organized. You need to start using online software, and try to fix this mess that you have here. And after showing her just some tips and some programs, she still writes certain things on pen and paper, which is totally fine, just because even till this day, I personally do that. But yeah, just gave her some tips of what software and what things to do to maybe get a little bit more organized. And till this day, she's taking my tips. So it's been great. And organization helps you succeed. So definitely when you are organizing, when your business is organized, it runs a lot smoother, and you will notice that. Obviously, it takes time, but that will be something that we kind of take a deep dive into later during this little webinar. So let's get into it. Getting organized. Benefits of being organized is peace of mind. You are stress-free. You have no worry when you are organized. You know where to find things, most importantly, which is a big plus. And it leaves you kind of knowing, okay, I know where this is. I know where this is going. I know where this money is going, et cetera, et cetera. Anything that you're doing, you kind of want to have a plan and tackle that plan in an organized way. And for the second point, spend less time searching for things. This is definitely a big one, just because when you have all of your information or any data that you're organizing, you want to have different folders or different pages that you can organize that information in. So when you already have all these things laid out and you have a system laid out for how you want to organize this, you definitely spend you spend less time searching for things just because you know exactly where it is. So huge plus for that. So for the next slide, learning to organize consists of keeping things in bite-sized folders or notes. So like I mentioned in the previous slide, when you have different folders, different subfolders, for, let's say you have a property, and inside that property you have multiple tenants, you might want to make a folder for any tenant information that you have associated to that property. And then you have another folder where you have rent, or you have their leases, their signed leases. Just try to keep everything in bite-sized folders. You don't want to just have one folder with everything in it. You obviously want to have things in small chunk size things, just that way you can consume it a little bit easier. Second point is lots of people like to keep things on paper, but there are many programs and tools to help you help you get organized. So take advantage of them. I always recommend people to use the software out there, and technology is here to stay, and it's here to help you, most importantly. So don't be afraid of technology. There's a lot of software to help you get organized, and we will go over that in this webinar, definitely. So, beginner tips, stay calm. This is a lot of work, and most importantly, it will take time. That kind of goes into my second point here. Understand that getting organized takes time. It does, and it doesn't happen in one night, but remember to stay calm. You want to organize things when you are fully focused on those tasks. So, what do I mean by this? Basically, you don't want to be organizing one thing and then worrying about a different subject or a different property. You want to be fully focused on, okay, let's organize all of my properties. Let's come up with a system and really try to figure out how we're going to organize this, and fully focus on that one task. Don't try to organize all your properties and leases. Just start doing one thing at a time. And eventually, once you organize one thing and start to work on other things, it kind of slowly starts building up to a whole organized glory, per se. If you aren't comfortable with computers, be patient with yourself. There is a lot of people out there, I believe, that kind of get frustrated when it comes to working with technology. And be patient. Computers typically do what they're told. And they're very literal. So be patient with yourself. Technology sometimes is a little bit annoying to work with, but slowly but surely you'll figure it out. YouTube is a big help for me. If I don't know anything, or if I want to learn how to do something, I either Google it or I YouTube it, and I always find something to kind of give me an idea. Okay, this is how to do something. especially with technology, there are a lot of resources out there to help you out. Just to explain Kanban boards a little bit, Kanban boards essentially have these columns. Let's say you have a column named not started, in progress, and completed. Just like this little example that I have here. Here I have backlog, to do, ongoing, and done. Essentially, backlog would be a set of tasks, to do would be another set of tasks, ongoing would be another set of tasks, etc., etc. And you could assign an individual task. Let's say you have a task in backlog. You can assign that task to a person, and they could then move that task from backlog into to do. And that kind of shows the rest of the team or anyone monitoring the Kanban board, shows what's being worked on, what's been completed, and what hasn't been worked on or hasn't been touched at all. So especially with property management or even running a business, it is a very nice feature to have Kanban boards. I believe that every business should implement this in some way. Obviously, you can't implement this in every single aspect of your business, but in certain things, I feel like especially a task list or a to-do list for that specific day, it definitely helps you out. So, some recommended software. I use Notion a ton. That is the first one on my list. Notion is a note-taking application on your phone as well as on your computer. And it is very, very powerful. You're able to actually have your own Kanban board on Notion, along with many other templates that they have on their marketplace. Some are free, some are paid, but a very powerful tool for note-taking along with collaboration. It's basically, I would say, an upgraded Microsoft Word with many more features, with Excel features, working with data sets, integrating with different applications. Definitely a very, very useful program to look at, and it's free. Unless you're working with a team and you're working on multiple projects, then I believe you do have to pay. But besides that, if you're an individual who just wants to organize just a little bit, like I believe most of the people in this webinar do, Notion is where I would personally start. It is a great, great software. Productive app is a second one. I use this more for my personal life. It would be maybe to don't forget to wash the dishes, or don't forget to call a tenant about a work order, certain tasks and stuff that you think that you might forget. I usually log on this app right here. Essentially, it just helps you with day-to-day tasks that you have, or other things that you might need to do that day. So Google Calendar and Calendly, these kind of tie in together. If you are making meetings, or if you're joining a lot of meetings or having to make a lot of meetings with maybe other property managers, tenants, for whatever meeting or call that you need to make, Calendly is a very, very useful tool that you could use, where essentially you send someone that Calendly link and they can create a meeting with you. And once that meeting has been booked, it will consume that time block on Google Calendar. And let's say someone else tries to make a meeting with you, that time block will already be taken. It syncs with Google Calendar, so essentially any time blocks or anything that you put on Google Calendar, it will also show on Calendly too. Another cool feature is that, let's say you link Calendly with a Zoom account, you can have it so if someone creates a meeting with you, it will automatically create a Zoom session. That way it sends you and the other person a Zoom link for them to join. So useful software. I would 100% recommend using that if you are on a lot of calls, just because maybe you're writing things right now on pen and paper, and that could end up to serious trouble. Maybe you forget about meetings or you don't have reminders on your phone. Calendly helps out a lot with that. So some challenges that you might face while organizing is getting overwhelmed. That is definitely a big one. I feel like getting overwhelmed is very easy. And when you have a lot of things to organize or things to work on, it could get very, very overwhelming. So be patient with yourself. I think that if you are patient with yourself and you tell yourself like, hey, I got this, I'm going to take care of this, you will accomplish it. More of a mental challenge of being organized. Usually people tend to push it away and not want to worry about it and maybe deal with it later, when in reality you're just piling up the work that you have to do maybe later on. My third point, learning when to make new files and pages. This kind of comes along the way when you are starting to organize the things that you need to organize. Making separate files for certain things or making new folders. Eventually, you don't want to make too many folders and you also don't want to make too little folders. So learning that kind of happy medium is a little challenge that you will face. But again, with more time and with more organization, you tend to kind of build systems and figure out what works versus what doesn't work. So why is disorganization so common? People tend to get overwhelmed, very overwhelmed, and they aren't patient with themselves. And you especially when organizing things, you definitely need to be very patient with yourself. I feel like it is a long process and it will not happen overnight. Time management is another big one. I feel like people don't really know exactly how long things will take them, and learning how to manage tasks and delegate tasks is definitely a very common thing that you will run into. And dealing with a lot of clutter, maybe not many people, but some people just like this picture will or are dealing with clutter. So something that you might see that's very common, but again, we are here to help. So a little bit of my advice: take a breath, relax, breathe in some fresh air, and don't get overwhelmed, and realize, again, it will take time. I can't say it enough. Yeah, take a breath, relax a little bit, and you'll be good, I promise. So moving on to my second point, try and find software that is right for you. I did recommend some software earlier, like Notion, Calendly, that does help you organize things and get you started. I feel like, again, things take time, but I promise you will get through it. And the last thing is many apps linked together and make this process very easy. So you have Notion that integrates with Google Calendar or Calendly. There's a lot of software that does integrate together and helps you out. So some common mistakes made by property managers. Using their personal email for business. I feel like you should definitely have a business email. It is very easy to get one. If you just search up the Google domains, you're able to set up that domain with a business email. And just keep your personal life aside from your business life. You don't want those emails getting all cluttered up. Keeping records on the paper. Paper is kind of, there's a lot of things that could happen with keeping paper, where it could, it could catch on fire, or your dog ate it, or something could happen to the stack of papers on your desks. So it's always good to have a digital copy or have it uploaded on the cloud. That way that you're not going to lose that information. It is very important information, and you want to have all your information at hand for any case that may happen. And lastly, poor task management. This is something that some people run into, where they don't know how to delegate their tasks. So learning how to do this is definitely something that you will want to look into, and is a common mistake that you will also see being made by property managers. Now, some common misconceptions, and you see here where it says stares and overwhelmed. Some might be saying that you're using a bunch of different software, which doesn't help you stay organized at all. And realize that a lot of these softwares integrate with each other, and in reality, they are helping each other. So learning how to, eventually you're gonna notice, okay, like this one app integrates with everything else. So you're mainly gonna be using that one application. Will you be using other applications? 100%. Just because things are built to help each other. There's definitely competitors out there, but usually, at least the integrations that I'm talking about, they are made to help each other. So, common misconception solved. Moving on to the second one, some people who didn't grow up around tech despise it. The software is made to help people, and that is factual. Some people who didn't grow around tech, kind of they're like things the old-fashioned way. And believe it or not, tech is the future, and it's kind of everywhere, and it is kind of running our world. Little scary with AI and stuff, kind of releasing. But yeah, different topic, totally different topic. But yeah, some definitely some common misconceptions. Software is made to help you, and technology is made to help you. So use it. Don't be afraid to use it and learn it. I feel like everyone can learn it as long as you put the time in. So, best piece of advice is breaking up large data and organizing it into small bite sizes. Just like Willy Wonka here, you want little pieces of his chocolate. You want little pieces of information kind of put in folders or on pages. And yeah. Software doesn't bite. It is not made to hurt you. It is here to save you. So don't be scared of technology. It is here to help, and it is here to make your life easier. And stay organized. Being organized brings you peace of mind where you don't have to worry about anything. You know exactly where everything is. And, whenever someone says, hey, what's the inventory for this? Or what is this person's rent amount? You know exactly how much it is. So, how can DoorLoop help? And this is why we're all here. Because how can DoorLoop help you get a little bit organized when it comes to property management and really kind of bring your property management business to the next levels? So DoorLoop organizational tools, portfolios are very, very powerful. If you are a property manager who is managing for a bunch of different owners, you're able to put those properties for that specific owner into a portfolio. Very, very useful feature in DoorLoop. You also have tenant notes and property notes. So if you want to have a specific, maybe you have renovation for that specific property, or the tenant is a senior citizen, you're able to easily add notes to that specific tenant or property. And lastly, you have the task tab, which essentially, if let's say you have a vendor who you need to send to a property for a work order, all those tasks will be shown on the task tab. And it also has like a little progress bar that shows you, all right, it's being worked on, or it's in progress, finished, paid, etc. So the future of organization, you do have AI that has been a big topic in 2023. You do have some tools though to help you out with organization. Gazebo is a project management tool that does help you kind of lay things out if you are working on a project. Maybe you're building a property or you're building out your business. Gazebo is a tool that will help you and other teammates. Maybe you're collaborating with someone. It will help you out with building out that system for you. You also have Timely, where you're able to log time or automatically track time. That way, you know exactly how long certain things take you. That way, let's say you want to know exactly how long it takes for you to finish writing your emails or finish looking at your emails in the morning. You can use Timely to log that. That way, you're able to delegate certain tasks and really track time and kind of plan out your days and know exactly how long things take you, which is important. And that is it. I appreciate everyone for joining this webinar today. I do think we have a little window for some questions. So if we do have any questions pop up in here, I will go ahead and answer them. Please put them in the chat below or in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer any questions that you guys may have. Again, thank you so much for joining me on this webinar. It has been great, and I hope you have an amazing time.